So no surprise that the Fed decided to skip raising its current policy tightening cycle, but the U.S. Central Bank also didn't roll out future rate hikes. For more, let's turn to Professor Song Soo-young this morning. Great to have you back.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Good morning to you.
Professor Song, the Fed decided to maintain its current interest rate stance. Now, this is not a surprise, is it?
Yeah, no surprise at all, because in the middle of the October, he has attended some session that he has mentioned the Federal Reserve is anticipating this remain what it used to be, at least for the federal funds rate. So as Mr. Powell has noted, clearly during the last September and October, we have seen the surge of the long-term interest rate, particularly from term structure. The 10-year-old yield has been increased a lot. That could be a really burden for the borrowing, people's borrowing. So it could have some pressure in the long run for the consumer spending and the financial behavior and activities. Therefore, that's why the Federal Reserve has sustained the current stance for the interest rate keeping what it used to be.
Right, the U.S. economy is holding up well for now, but the Fed is not done with its tightening policy just yet, right? Should we expect an additional hike maybe next month?
Yeah, because there is in the market, we can see some very opposite way signal from the market. Clearly, the high yield on the long-term rate could be a burden and put the pressure on the inflation and the consumer behavior. But clearly, we have seen that in the third quarter, in the U.S. market, the consumption spending has been increased from 4% to 4.8% by as much as 0.8 percentage points. So still, people would like to spend the money, whether it is in revenge consumption because of the pressured demand during the coronavirus. Particularly recently, with people's expenditure has been greatly increased in the service, such as music or some sports ceremony or attending. Those spendings has been increased a lot. Relatively, and another perspective, the economic growth rate for the third quarter in the United States, I was really surprised because the U.S. economy looks like some developing economy rather than developed economy. So 4.9%, that is very impressed. But the problem is only U.S. economy cannot such high growth cannot be sustained, definitely, because the United States is part of the world economy. Clearly, the U.S. has been taking the largest part, but to maintain the U.S. economy rather very sustainable growth rate, they have to take into account of some spilling negative effect on the other world economy except the United States.
Definitely. We also have to talk about the Israel-Hamas war. That's reason as another variable apart from all those domestic situations that you've just laid out. Is the war over in the Middle East influencing the Fed's decision? Now, if not yet, will it ever in the future? What do you think?
Yeah, recently, this morning I have seen that the Yemen's Houthi rebellions has declared war against Israel. So actually, this is just a small part of. However, the United States is clearly concerned about developing this Israel-Hamas war developing into some regional war between the Iran and the Saudi Arabia and the other countries surrounding Israel. So it is in the U.S. interest to halt and this war from containing just within regional war or stopping war immediately, or at least achieve some truce between the conflicting countries. So to this regard, I don't expect much threat from the Israel-Hamas war. However, We don't know because in the political landscape in Israel is very volatile and the far rightist and the very extreme far right Zionist in Israel has they would like to maintain this war, and although they would like to take the risk of the whole war against the Arab world. So that is a really concern. If that happens in the future, clearly that must be a burden, and some Arab world and other countries try to make use of some energy commodities for the weapon against Israel and the Western economies. So that is a really serious, that is going to be a really serious threat.
Indeed. Before I let you go, Professor Song, another eye-catching event was the quarterly treasury funding announcement. Now, why is it important for market watchers? How is it related to interest rates?
I think this is just an ordinary operation for the Treasury Department because this is the issuance of the savings bonds. What the types is EE and savings I type bonds. Both has a relatively very long term. But however, the type I treasury bonds has been some variable interest coupon could be paid to the holders or purchasers of such bonds. The problem is because of recent, as I mentioned earlier, the long-term yield for the has been increased. That is a really burden for the mortgage loan and the borrowers and or student loan, definitely. And that is going to be a really put the weight on some price increase and also the consumption behavior. To that regard, is effectively the federal funds rate is a short-term interest rate. So increased high yield in the long-term bonds has a very similar effect on another hike of the short-term federal funds rate. So that's why the FOMC has decided to maintain the hold federal funds rate at this level right now. So I think this does not affect market very much at all.
All right, Professor Song, thank you as always for your insight. You have a great day.
Thank you for inviting me.